Hi guys, so the first thing that we are going to do is make a slip knot. Then we are going to place it on our hook and tighten it up. Now we are going to chain 91 for a total width of 36. The reason we are using a 6.5mm crochet hook for our chain is so that it creates a really nice, loose and flexible chain and it doesn't curl in on itself. At this point, we are going to switch back to our 6mm hook and we're going to use this for the remainder of the blanket. So insert your hook into the second chain from the hook and make a single crochet. We are going to make a single crochet in each chain across. So to do this, we are going to insert our hook into the chain, yarn over and draw up a loop so we have 2 loops on our hook, and we're going to yarn over and pull through both loops. At the end of this row, we should have a total of 90 single crochet stitches, and we are going to have a total of 90 stitches for every row that we work after. At this point, we are going to turn our work and we are going to start row 2 by chaining 1 and making a single crochet into the first stitch. We are now going to single crochet in each stitch across, but first we are going to mark the first stitch of our new row with a stitch marker. We are going to do this to the first stitch of each row, and we are also going to do this to the last stitch of each row. And the reason that we do this is because it is very easy to lose or gain extra stitches if we aren't consistently counting the number of stitches in each row. So marking the first and last stitch of each row with a stitch marker helps us to know exactly where the rows start and end, so we don't accidentally add in or lose extra stitches as we crochet. For row 3, we are going to start the same way that we did with row 2. We are going to chain 1 and single crochet in each stitch across, making sure that we mark the first stitch of the new row with a stitch marker. So at the end of row 3, we are going to remove our stitch marker, and now we're going to learn a trick for making straight edges. So normally we would make our last single crochet into the front and back loops of the first single crochet of the previous row, but it tends to create a jagged edge. So instead, we are going to turn our work slightly so that we look at the beginning chain 1 of the previous row, and we're going to insert our hook into that chain space and make a single crochet. This little trick creates a straight edge every single time, so I hope this works for you guys. Alright guys, for rows 4 to 6, we are going to chain 1 and single crochet in each stitch across, and then when we get to the end of the row, we are going to turn our work and start the next row. So you should have a total of 6 rows of single crochets when we are done here, and then at that point, we have now finished the bottom of our blanket border, and we are going to start the body of our blanket. Alright guys, we are about to start the body of our blanket for row 7. So the first thing we're going to do is chain 1 and single crochet in the first 4 stitches. Now we are going to try the single crochet spike stitch. So this stitch is worked 1 row below. So into that space underneath that single crochet, we're going to insert our hook, yarn over and draw up a loop and make it so that it's the height of our current row, yarn over and pull through both loops. Then into the next stitch, we're going to make a regular single crochet Into the next stitch, we're going to make a spike stitch, so we're going to insert our hook one row below underneath the single crochet, yarn over, draw up a loop so it's the height of our current row, yarn over, and pull through both loops. Into the next stitch, we're going to make a regular single crochet, and we're just going to repeat this, alternating between that spike stitch, worked one row below, and a regular single crochet. We're going to do this all the way across until there are 4 stitches remaining. When there are 4 stitches remaining, just double check that the last stitch that you worked was a single crochet, and then proceed to make 1 single crochet in each of the last 4 stitches across, making sure that we do our little trick to make our edges straight by working our last single crochet into the beginning chain 1 of the previous row. For row 8, we are going to turn our work, and we are going to do the exact same as row 7. So we're going to chain 1 and make 1 single crochet in the first 4 stitches. The 5th stitch should be a single crochet, so what we're going to do is go 1 row below that. Into that space, we're going to make a spike stitch. The next stitch should be a spike stitch, so we are going to insert our hook into that stitch and make a regular single crochet. Then when we see that single crochet, we're going to make a spike stitch going underneath that stitch. And we're going to make a single crochet in the next stitch. So a way to check that you're doing this correctly is that you should be making a spike stitch whenever you see a single crochet in the row below, and you should be making a single crochet whenever you see a spike stitch in the row below. So we are going to continue alternating between a spike stitch and a regular single crochet stitch all the way across until we have 4 stitches remaining. Now double check that the last stitch that you worked was a single crochet, and then into the last 4 stitches we are going to make 1 single crochet in each stitch across. When we get to the end, remember to make that last single crochet into the beginning chain 1 of the previous row, and that just makes a really nice straight edge. Alright guys, for rows 9 to 145, we are going to repeat row 7, so we are going to chain 1 and make 1 single crochet in the first 4 stitches. Into our 5th stitch, which is a single crochet from the row below, we're going to make a single crochet spike stitch. And then into the next stitch, which is a spike stitch from the row below, we're going to make a regular single crochet. And we are going to continue alternating between a single crochet spike stitch and a regular single crochet all the way across until we get to the last 4 stitches. So remember that every spike stitch should be worked around a single crochet from the row below, and every regular single crochet should be worked into a spike stitch from the row below. Double check that the last stitch you worked was a single crochet, and then proceed to make 1 single crochet in the last 4 stitches of the row, making sure that we make the last stitch of the row into the beginning chain 1 of the previous row to create a straight edge. Before we meet back up at the top of the border, I wanted to show you guys one last trick. So a way to keep track of your row counts, easily so you don't miscount is to mark every 10th or 20th row with a stitch marker. So place it into the side of the stitch, mark it with that stitch marker, and then when you are ready to count your rows, you just have to count the stitch markers and multiply by either 10 or 20. So for example, if you have 8 stitch markers and you marked every 20th row, you'll have a total of 160 rows. We have now finished the body of our blanket, so we are going to start the top of the border. So what we're going to do is chain 1 and single crochet in each stitch across for the next 5 rows. And then we are finished our blanket. We can move on to weaving in our ends, blocking our blanket, and maybe adding a custom baby tag. I'll show you guys that in a few moments. Okay guys, it's time to weave in our ends, so grab a yarn needle and thread it with one of your yarn tails. And what I like to do is weave my end through a few stitches, make a knot so that it's extra secure, and then weave it through a few more stitches going different directions before trimming it with a pair of scissors. And then that way you know that your yarn tail is secure, and if this blanket is being washed multiple times, it won't come undone. Then move on to your next end until you're ready to go, and we can start blocking our work. To block your blanket, you are going to need a flat surface that you can stick pins into. So I'm just laying out styrofoam mats that join together, but you can use carpet, foam, or whatever you have on hand. Next, we are going to take our blocking pins or straight pins, and we are going to lay our blanket out flat and pin it along each side so that we can get it into a nice position and it lies perfectly flat. Now with a steamer or an iron with steam setting, even a spray bottle, you are going to gently steam or spray your blanket. If you are using a steamer or iron, you want to keep at least 2 inches away from your fabric so that it doesn't burn. Gently press the water or the steam into your blanket with your hands so that it really soaks into the fabric and makes your blanket straight. Once you have steamed or sprayed the rest of your blanket, it's important to wait and let your blanket completely dry before unpinning it and using it. We're going to do one final thing to make this blanket extra special, and that's adding a custom tag, so please stay tuned for that. To make this blanket extra special, I ordered a custom leather tag that says Miles, which is my nephew's name. I thought it would be the perfect way to finish off this blanket and really make it special. So I ordered this tag from the Sunu Bunu Etsy shop, and I'll link it down below in case you guys would like to get your own custom leather tag for someone special in your life. I'm sewing the tag on with a standard sewing needle and some black thread so that it blends in with the dark gray yarn. I'm doing this to both sides, and once I've sewn it in a few times, I make a knot at the back of my work and then trim it off with a pair of scissors. Alright guys, this wraps up the Smiles for Miles blanket. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this project. Please let me know in the comments down below who you are making this blanket for. I'm really excited to hear about it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a like or subscribe for more fun crochet content. Have a wonderful day. Bye.